Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. Over the years, I have proven that I am more logical than everyone else. So I'm going to start another series called Burden of Proof. On every topic in this video series, this short video series, the burden of proof is going to be on the opposition view, because the overwhelming logical assumption and or fairly conclusive conclusion is that I'm right. This first video is about living a long, wicked life. The burden of proof is on the opposition view to prove that a short, righteous life isn't greater than a long, wicked life. That's part of why I used this picture of this old witch from the cartoon Snow White, because she represents someone who's ugly inside and out as a result of being wicked and conforming. It doesn't matter if you're conforming as a person of the church or of a corporation or in the military or police or whatever. If you conform to a culture that is common in the world, to a culture that is not morally precise with a universal scale. Let me clarify what I mean by universal scale really quickly. To say that somebody who has their kid killed, has been done no more wrong than somebody who has just had their car stolen, the person would be wrong. Why would they say that? They would say that because they don't value human life more than a mere car. And that's a complex they have, it's a specific culture they have, that's a specific scale that they have. But universally, what everyone would agree on with sound logic is that human life is worth more in that scenario presented as such, with no other variables. Like that car would save 1 million people's lives, or whatever. So now when we look at life, right, for the same reason that a small bag of gold is worth more than a bucket full of dust, just common dirt that you can get anywhere. Let's say at this point, when it comes to trading, stocks, commodities, gold, the gold reserve, what have you, that is universal. But just somebody who's lost their mind, who's trying to confound a point and play stupid, a type of fools who pretend that evil doesn't exist, but they quickly change their story if somebody's going to torture them for no reason to prove why they're wrong. They know all of a sudden evil does exist, and they don't want that to happen to them because that's wrong. And that they wouldn't want, they want this person to consider that they wouldn't want someone to do that to them, which is how we get the ideas of morals in the first place. It's where we get them from. These kind of building blocks that lead us to these unavoidable conclusions that justice and morality exists. So, when we look at a righteous life, how it makes life more worthwhile, how naturally, if one is righteous, their brain functions better than if they're wicked. We've seen this in so many ways. We see it in martial arts. We see it in people who slip into a fugue state, right? Fugitive and fugue state after they've done something wrong. Whether or not the law is correct about what's right or wrong. When they're a fugitive from morality, if you will, from justice. Whether it's legal justice or true justice. We see it in so many walks of life. So there's no way around the irrefutable fact that if somebody was to live a righteous life and die in their 40s or 30s, that they're far superior to being some kind of conformist hag of either gender who lives to be 90 or 120 years old. Just because they're too stupid to know that their life is not worthwhile and it's despicable and their brain activity is that of a worm. The things they derive pleasure in are nothing compared to the true pleasure of being righteous, the true joy, the true happiness. Doesn't mean that they're not universally wrong when they live their lives as a conformist coward instead of a short, righteous life, which is one of the key morals of the Bible, and Christ on the cross as a character in the story, which is based on the most righteous person ever, and that is me, is a symbol of that moral. He said he's going to be exalted and God will be glorified when we be crucified. Not when he lived a long life, not when he invented something in science, when he, as the Son of God, who's a warrior, was crucified. So you see all these angles, universal logic, religious logic, if you will, where the two overlap. Comparing the values of things. They all lead us to the same point. That a short, righteous life is greater than a long, wicked life, and mental health and the government and the people in the community, they have no business interfering with somebody who's on the righteous path, even if it's going to kill them. Especially when they're conformists, and that man is not. All the conformists in the world put together have an opinion that is laughable. But one righteous man's opinion is sacred.